dear learners, a very warm welcome to all of you for this session. We have, Dr. Anand Gupta.
Thank you very much, Mansi, and welcome learners to this session.
And we will be talking about the role of different stakeholders in the process of anti-human trafficking. So till now, we have discussed different roles of the stakeholders. We have discussed the role of NGOs, the role of politicians, the role of prosecutors, the role of government functionaries, and now we will discuss the role of Labor Department officials. As I said that, this is very important in terms of getting justice for the people who are working in factories, in various employments. And when I talk about Labor Department officials, I also relate it with child trafficking for labor, for hazardous employment like beedi udyog or carpet industry or jute making industry or the bangle industry. And I would request my colleague to say further on this point.
You rightly pointed out. In fact, human trafficking also takes place for cheap labor.
Yes.
And not only cheap labor, but child labor are exploited in different ways. They are not provided with the basic amenities, basic safety or basic cleanliness and basic environment of cleanliness, which is hygienic environment, which is mandated by various laws and rules. Human trafficking also takes place for labor purposes. So in that case, Labor Department plays an important role because labor departments have the duty to enforce the labor law of the country, and they work in various capacities, starting from inspecting the industries to know whether the law is being implemented properly or not, proper record is maintained or not, and as you rightly pointed out, the children are involved in hazardous industries or not, and safety measures are, whether the safety measures are taken by the employer, whether the conditions are hygienic for laborers. So Labor Department plays an important role, or it can easily identify the places where the child trafficked victims are being employed, or where the labor is facing various kinds of exploitation, and it can associate NGOs, other government organizations, police, etc. To prevent these kinds of abuses.
Yes, and as he said, it's not only something which is related to your place where you have been kept. It is also sexual exploitation. It is also, violation of your human rights. As Anandji has just said, that even the basic facilities are not provided just to minimize the cost. So you are thinking that you will be earning more and the other person is suffering, and in terms of providing a hygienic place to the worker, this is the duty of the employer, that they provide working environment to the people. So if you employ children in your factories, in your dhabas, in your places of employment for commercial use, if you employ children, then this is a violation. wherein the people can come forward and take action against you. When you do not provide the basic sanitation to the people, we have seen, that after rescue it has been found out that in one room 20 to 25 people sleep, they eat at the same place, and sometimes they do not have even a washroom. They use the public toilet, and for public toilet or open spaces, for urinals and all. So it is also very unhygienic, it is also very unsafe for them, and many times, they sleep in the factories only. So where, we have seen tobacco factories, when somebody sleeps in the factory continuously, they are involved in beedi making process, they are involved in, packaging. And when a child is 24/7, in that environment, then even if he is not, taking beedi, he is exposed to inhaling the same smell every day, every time, and this is because of his vulnerability, because he does not have a space or a place of shelter. When they are forced to eat at the same place, small children, sometimes have lot of ear and nose nasal issues, because the beads, when they are involved in jewelry making factories, the beads go inside the ears or, nostrils, and then the child even, sometimes is, taken to the hospital and is not able to survive. So we have reports where we see that the children who are involved in this bangle industries do not have nails, because every times, their nails are cut while making bangles. The children who are involved in chemical factories, they have all these purple nails, right, Anandji?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you rescue these children, you can easily find out. He has perfectly said, that the officials who go for checking, for seeing whether the standards are met properly or not, sometimes we have seen cases where the male and female working for the same thing are not paid equally. So equal pay for equal work is not maintained in actual. Sometimes the registers are forged. So you have a different register to show to these authorities, and a different register for your workplace. Even the working hours, Anandji, is not fixed.
Yeah, and we must also remember that labor department should also keep in mind that they are dealing with the people who are not, I mean, who come from very humble background. They don't have the resources, they don't have the enough education, and they are not very vocal type of people. They because they have faced a lot of exploitation, and from the very childhood they have been told that they have to work as per the wishes of the employer. So when they interview these victims, they should inspire confidence in them so that they reveal the truth. Because when they come to interview them, they generally don't tell the truth. The victims don't tell the truth because of the fear of losing job, etc. And facing various types of persecution at the hand of employer. So they should inspire a confidence in the mind of the people that they will not be victimized, and they should empower them so that the truth come out, and it is also expected from them that in case if they lose employment because of telling the truth, they should be provided alternative employment, and for that purpose labor department should have linkage, should have connection with industry and NGOs, so that they can be rehabilitated alternatively.
Yes, and you know they can identify the vulnerable areas and the vulnerability factors and take remedial steps, and also advise other departments concerned to take appropriate action in preventing human trafficking. They also can take steps to empower the rescued person, as Anandji just said, that they can be a connecting link between the employment avenues, because they do not speak, not because they have liked this kind of torturous life. They are so happy living in a small and dingy room, suffering at the hands of the employers, being exploited sexually and other kinds of abuses by the employers. It is because they are so vulnerable that they have a fear that they will lose even this kind of a lifestyle. So Anandji was very rightly, he has said that they have to first gain confidence. While interacting with the rescued person, you have to gain confidence, and you have to check the authenticity of the statement made by these victims, because they are so vulnerable, they are so dependent on the employer that they will not always say truth. So by circumstantial evidences, by giving them space, by getting some kind of confidence in the minds of these people, by having a human face. Anandji always says, that if you interact with a human face, the other person will also speak up. If you interact in a way which is, very authoritative, just to record statements and just to finish the investigation and close the case, then the response will be different. So the way you interact with these rescued people, the redressal mechanism which you follow during rescue and after, the interview, the kind of compensation scheme you bring for these people matter a lot. And compensation is one-time compensation. But as Anandji said, if you provide them job opportunities, that will be the best thing which the authorities can do in a welfare state.
So now we come to labor contractors.
Yes.
Actually, what I feel is that labor contractors are generally working under some organizations, because they are they supply labor to various industries, governments, etc. So apart from the role of labor contractor, it is also necessary that the principal employer should ensure that the labor laws are implemented in spirit. And if the employer develops a kind of mechanism where the labor welfare schemes and labor welfare laws are properly implemented, and the labor contractor has got the impression that the employer will not tolerate any kind of violation, then the labor contractor will have to work as per the wishes of the employer. So the primary responsibility is with the principal employer. This is what I feel. And when we talk about the labor contractor, and So definitely labor contractor should also ensure that the rules are properly followed, and uh, in that case, if there may be situation where the labor contractor is uh, willing to follow the rules, whereas the employer may have certain inhibitions. In that case, a labor contractor should impress upon the employer that the interests of the labor are protected. So he should have no tolerance for the violations of the rule.
And they can ensure
and,
that.
and should notify or should inform the law enforcement agencies if the rules are not followed.
Yes, and they should not employ any child for any kind of labor at the.
Yeah. And if they come across a person who has been a victim of human trafficking, then they should report the matter to the authorities and help in her rehabilitation.
Yes, and they can act as a whistleblower for law enforcement agency and notify them of any issue or any likely issue of human trafficking, and they should treat the labor with dignity. His human rights should be protected. The law should be implemented in the best interest of the labor. So the labor rights have to be respected, and also the mindset needs to be changed. As Anandji just said, that the mindset is very important of the employer. So the employer has to ensure that any contractor who works under him does not violates the laws, and for profit the employer should not violate somebody's rights. And now we will be talking about the official of Women and Child Development Department.
Actually, Women and Child Development Department is primarily or directly involved as far as victims of human trafficking is concerned. So it has a major role to play, and it also like other stakeholders, labor department, etc. It has a bigger role to play, and it can identify the places where the human trafficking is being done, or any violation of rights of the victim, any violation of, including the labor law and other laws, because it's a kind of umbrella organization as far as the welfare of women and children is concerned. So it is not, it cannot say that it is the duty of the labor department or some other department. It should and it must operate in those cases also where any kind of violation of the rights of women and children are being done.
Yes, and they can address the vulnerabilities in a better way because they have the entire team with them. They can identify the demand factors and take steps to address them. They can work as a nodal agency in bringing synergy between all the stakeholders, especially police, NGO, rehabilitation agencies, and they can facilitate counseling of rescued person by the trained counselors.
Counseling is very important.
Yes.
Because when the victims is rescued, then he is suffering for various kinds of problems, especially psychological problems. So for that, his confidence is very low, and for that he needs a counselor, and the counselor should especially in case of children, he should act like the children or the victim should feel that the counselor is a kind of guardian or a kind of a friend to whom he can confess everything. So the kind of active listening is very important for a counselor. Counselor should not try to impose his own view. He should first listen. He should take a step that the victim speak out whatever he is suffering. So counselor has a very important role to play.
Yes, and they can take steps to involve the political leaders, the Panchayati Raj institutions and media in, in all the 3 P's. Then they can also act as a nodal center.
Prevention and prosecution.
Prosecution.
So in all these three area, Women and Child Development Department has a role, and it because various NGOs are associated with Women and Child Department, so it can take help of these NGOs and work in partnership with these NGOs. So this will definitely help in addressing the problem.
Yes. And they can also set up a nodal resource center for collation, analysis and dimensions of all resource material and knowledge on human trafficking. So they can become a repository and they can attend to all tasks on anti-human trafficking that are not in the domain of other department or agencies, as Anandji just said, that they have a bigger responsibility. And now, Anandji, you want to say something else on this?
No, now we come to another.
Yes. Yeah. Any persons, so the commoners concerned with human rights.
Any public spirited person can act in the area of preventing human trafficking. It can, because government cannot reach everywhere, and even NGO has their own limitations. So any individual who knows the place where the human trafficking is being done, or the person is being exploited for cheap labor, etc., or for any purpose, for any type of exploitation of the victim, human traffic victim is taking place, then he has the duty to report the matter to the concerned authorities. And it can also help in educating the society, because when there are some people who are sensitized, who are sensitive about the issue, they can help in mobilizing the support from the public so that the offenders can be brought to book, and the people who some of the offenders may be very influential people. There may be situations where the authorities may find it difficult to act against them. So when the public opinion is against human trafficking, then whatever influence a person has, whatever high position a victim holds, whatever resources the offender had.
Yes, so people can play a very important role. First is that you will not violate somebody's right. Second is that you will create awareness amongst the family members and your community wherever you are about the human trafficking. Then even for domestic help, you will not, violate the human rights of somebody. If you happen to see any kind of criminal activity around you, then that should be immediately reported. So as a citizen, we are duty bound to report about any crime around us. So if you see a child who is employed or any kind of exploitation you see around you, you just make a report. Fourth point is that you be aware so that you know you are not being trafficked. So when you move on the roads, you move on the streets, you are even at home using social media platforms, then you do be aware about your rights and about your surroundings. So people can play a very important role even in becoming witness to the crime. You know, you can contribute in somebody's rights being, protected by the law. So if a person is convicted, then somebody's rights will be protected by the law and the society will get, a good message. So as a citizen, you have a lot of roles and responsibilities. We do not have legal education in India, so you can help in creating this kind of awareness among your family members, your helpers, and please do not, violate somebody's rights in the name of becoming a customer either in the massage parlor, on the social platforms, at homes, in factories, because small saving on the name of somebody's rights.
It is said that the charity begins at home. So first, you rightly pointed out that first we should also ensure that we do not violate any laws.
Yes, and we should not see any porn sites and all. As one resource person always say that you just stop visiting these websites. You will help lot of people rehabilitate the society. Thank you all for listening and have a good day.
Thank you.